Hi, I'm John Hand, and the Pulsing Cinema movie of the day is Dead and Buried. Gary Sherman, 1981. Yes, released during the height of the modern horror film. And Dead and Buried is definitely a modern horror film, but it has a lot of very creepy and moody and stylistic touches which set it apart from the rest. Yes, Dead and Buried. It was a very obscure film for many years, only available on a long forgotten, I believe, Vestron VHS release. And then, reborn in the early 2000s when it was re-released on DVD in a gigantic special edition from Blue Underground. And then recently released on Blu-ray, also by Blue Underground. So Dead and Buried is a creepy story set in the Northeast in this seaside town of Potter's Bluff, which is a picturesque town on the outside, but there's all kinds of ugly secrets on the inside. The people who visit Potter's Bluff don't don't end up living very long. They seem to be murdered in very vicious and horrible ways by these roving groups of townspeople, or some people, or something. Are they real people? Are they phantoms? Or what the hell are they? It remains a mystery. There's a wonderful opening scene with a photographer and a woman on a beach, played by Lisa Blunt from Prince of Darkness, and Officer and Gentleman. A very beautiful romantic scene which turns kind of sour for everyone involved. So the bodies start to pile up, and the town sheriff, played by James Ferrantino, tries to search he just races to unravel the mysteries of the town. He moved away from the town, but he's come back. He's brought his wife, played by Melody Anderson of Flash Gordon, and together they're living in this town. But there's something wrong with this town. Something is going on, and it may have something to do with the eccentric mortician coroner, William Dobbs, played by Jack Albert, the famed actor, classic movie actor Jack Albert, who's one of the leads in Willy Wonka, and later in his life, I guess he's most well known as Chico and the Man, as being the lead actor in that television series Chico and the Man. He plays this creepy mortician, and this was his last role, as far as I know. Yeah, I think he died very, very, very soon after this, sadly. So the story develops, the plot develops, and it goes even further down the rabbit hole. Involves a lot of voodoo and secrets, and maybe the town mortician being involved. Maybe he's not. Maybe there's something else. And it actually ends in a kind of a shocking conclusion. So, I try not to give that much away about Dead and Buried. I watched it kind of coming in cold. I'd seen the trailer for it years ago, the Japanese trailer, which is actually on my my YouTube channel as well. It's an older video from a couple of years back. I saw that the Japanese trailer doesn't really give away a lot. It's just a lot of the special effects work in the film, just some of the effects gags. The effects in this film are incredible. They were done by Stan Winston. Most of them were done by Stan Winston. There were some very bad ones, like a face being melted by acid, that were part of a series of reshoots that were done, because this film was the rights to this film, the ownership of this film, kind of was in peril. The company that making this film were sold halfway through during the making of it, and the new people, the new company, the new management didn't understand what the director Gary Sherman was trying to do. Gary Sherman, a great director, an incredible director whose films he's made a few horror films and some action films. These films have a lot of style. They're always photographically interesting, and they have some virtuoso camera moves. Even his first movie that he made in the UK in the 70s, Deathline, aka Raw Meat, which is about a modern day cannibal living down in the subway, the London Underground, and picking off his victims. Has some very interesting camera work, very interesting stuff. Dead and Buried has some, incredible camera that you don't even understand. A lot of, tracking shots and shots off a crane, and then there's all of these really complex shots which are dissected in the excellent commentary track with Gary Sherman. There's one shot that starts on the inside and goes on the out and comes into the starts on the outside of a building and then goes into the inside. There was actually a door that was bolted to the dolly the camera actually comes inside. The door is bolted, and then it continues inside. So there's all these kind of Gary Sherman loves these kind of sinuous, kind of continuing shots from outside to inside to different areas of space, and frequently these shots are like cut up. And in Dead and Buried, there was a lot of studio interference in Dead and Buried, and Gary Sherman said that his original version of Dead and Buried was not the one that was released, that the final version was a lot more of a conventional horror film. That the original version of Dead and Buried had a lot of very black humor in it. It was very dark and black, but the film that was released, the film that we know, is still such a great horror film. I can't even imagine what Gary Sherman's original vision for it was. I mean, it sounds like it was really incredible. It sounds like very similar to what kind of happened with Brian De Palma and Phantom of the Paradise, where things were cut out and moved around and rearranged. In that case, there were legal issues with Swan Song and Led Zeppelin and everything that caused that to occur. But Dead and Buried, oh my God! James Valentino as the sheriff, the lead actor. Whoa, great actor. He'd already done a lot of TV, and then he was in that movie, The Final Countdown, and he was shaping up to become a really good theatrical actor. I think he had some turmoil in his life with his relationship with Nancy Sinatra, and I think there was some bad blood there, and some things happened. But he went on to have a good television career and do some films and other things. Early performance by Robert Englund as one of the country bumpkins. I was like, whoa, what the hell is Robert Englund doing here? As I said before, excellent special effects by Stan Winston. There's a scene where a corpse is but the mortician rebuilds a corpse's face from basically this skeletal skull into a beautiful woman's face, and in real life it was done in reverse of taking the dummy apart. It was all done with Stan Winston's hands who were in the film. And I mean, man, what a creepy, spooky film. It does have the touches of modern horror, and I think those touches were, some of the big kill scenes and stuff were bolted on by the distributor, as I said, by the money people, and some of them do look bolted on. They don't have the eerie, creepy feel, the paranoia. This is one of those heavy films with paranoia that just kind of creeps in, and music is also, I have to mention the music by Joe Renzetti is just stunning and beautiful. It's elegiac and sometimes romantic, but then it can crash into drama and suspense. And there's that scene when the people are walking around the old dark house in the middle of the night for no really good reason. They just there's just this couple, and they break down in Potter's Bluff, and they're like, let's just go into the old obviously abandoned, totally pitch black house and see if we can get help. It was just a ridiculous scene, but But again, you've got to do stuff in horror films. If people were smart enough to leave town, to leave Crystal Lake, we wouldn't have a movie. So you've got to do that stuff. There's got to be some sacrificial lambs. But the film, there's horror, but the film has this really creepy, spooky, paranoid. There was an IMDb comment that I thought was really accurate. It does kind of feel like an episode of Twilight Zone or the Outer Limits. I would say more like the Outer Limits. It has this very kind of creepy, spooky vibe to it. I remember the first time I saw it. I think I had this thought a few moments ago that I came into it blind. I didn't really, I watched the trailer, but then one night I watched it. It came on. It used to come on Sci-Fi Channel a lot. I watched it around 10 or 11 o'clock at night, just before I was about to head out the house to see a midnight movie at a local theater. But I was like, well, I just got to kill some time here. And I watched the opening of it, and it just hooked me. And I didn't watch the rest of it. Just watched the opening, and it hooked me. It's definitely a movie to watch late at night and to just kind of get into. It's definitely a late night movie. Definitely the perfect late night movie. Definitely the perfect midnight movie. Just a very cool movie. Dead and Buried.